everybody! It is Thursday, January 30th, 2025, and you are listening to Super Gamecast Daily. I am Bronson Fiore, joined by the always awesome Aaron Reynolds.
Hey, hi. I am Aaron Reynolds. That's me.
That is you. Welcome. How are you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing okay. I ran out of contacts, so now I'm living the glasses life, and I don't like it, but here I am.
It's an alright life, man. I promise you, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's fine. It made me go back to, it awakened an old memory where I was in PlayStation Home, and I made myself in PlayStation Home, and I remember talking with someone while we were in the bowling alley, and they're like, "Why do you look like a lesbian?" And I looked at myself at the glasses, and I'm in mid growing my hair out, and I'm looking at myself like I'm the PlayStation Home lesbian again. I'm back around here. All right, here we go.
All right, PlayStation Home lesbian. We need to get into some news. The video game industry ticks on every single day.
Every day, despite our best efforts.
And today, the big news story is the Dragon Age developers reveal they have been laid off after Bioware puts full focus on Mass Effect. Key developers announced they are leaving Bioware after the developer restructured to focus on Mass Effect yesterday, January 29th. Reported by IGN that Bioware had moved on a number of studios developers onto other projects within EA as it focuses entirely on Mass Effect 5. So, on the one hand, unsurprising, because, this is what happens when a studio, finishes a project. People will either get moved on to other games or laid off, but I have a sneaking suspicion that part of this is because, basing off a news story earlier in the week, that Dragon Age game underperformed by a lot.
It actually says here that they failed to meet expectations by 50%. They were expecting 3 million, they got 1.5 million.
That's not great. That is not a great way to make money.
That they put some decent resources behind this, and to be fair, it's Dragon Age. There is a desire for more Dragon Age. They apparently made a game that Dragon Age fans didn't want.
If the review by our own Anthony Ta had anything to say about it, that is, you would agree with that statement. To him, BioWare is dead.
Well, that's the thing. So, okay, I'm sitting here looking at this news story, and I'm thinking, Mass Effect, I think, is the way to go. I feel like Mass Effect has been such a huge franchise, despite how it ended, and the Andromeda stuff. Like, I think people are starving for Mass Effect, whereas Dragon Age, like, it has not hit that high of when it started in a long while, and then Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and so like I don't know what y'all Dragon Age fans are looking for at this point.
I just feel like this game took too long to come out. It was apparently a live service game at one point.
Oh no.
And then that got changed back to an RPG. And, this is a studio that already had layoffs, last year. So that was another big part of it. And then the game underperformed commercially and critically and amongst the fans. It's just and this is kind of a weird fall, in my opinion, because you look back at Inquisition. Inquisition sold a lot, and it was like a Game of the Year contender, and I personally wasn't a fan, but it was, it was apparently pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. Well, so what have they released in that time?
Mass Effect, Andromeda, and Anthem.
Oh God.
Yeah, they had a real rough run of it there for sure.
Oh, they went hard on Anthem, and on paper, Anthem seemed great.
It's a cool idea. We heard the development story from Jason Schreier on that one, where it was kind of a lot of the delusional, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine when it gets there. And then It was not fine. It was not a good game.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like I don't know. So I'm reading this like they're moving over to Mass Effect, but like, what does this say about Dragon Age? Is Dragon Age going back in the vault?
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, Dragon Age is going in the vault to never be revealed like ever again. It's in the EA vault. It's in the EA vault with a lot of games, but it's
right?
specifically in the EA vault with like Alice Madness Returns. That's in the EA vault, never to be seen
Yep.
again.
Nope.
Like it's in the it's sharing a corner with Ultima. That's in the
Mm-hmm.
EA vault. Army of Two, like yeah, that's in the EA vault to be part of the IP horde, the dragon hoarding. So
Army of Two, I think would do fairly well in this climate.
I actually think Army of Two would do really well right now. I agree.
Yeah,
I
but no,
but
Dragon Age had its lunch eaten, and they didn't even bother to go in that direction anyway. And so I don't know who Dragon Age serves anymore at this point. And so them moving to Mass Effect makes all the sense in the world. It's just a shame that, like, man, they put all this work into this thing and just like, yep. And now we got people that are out of work. Thankfully, they were able to move some people over to work on Mass Effect and other areas of EA, but damn.
and the meat grinder of the modern video game AAA industry, it never stops. It never stops.
Never stops.
Well, hey, we never stop as well. We do this show every single day. You should
Sure do.
follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Do
All
it.
that good stuff. You love that stuff.
Yes, we are on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. Man,
Hmm.
like help us, please. Uh,
we,
well,
we don't we don't need your money right now. We just need your likes and subscribes.
yes, we need you to watch. We need your attention. So, hey, speaking of people who might have needed our attention but not anymore, Doctor Disrespect. You remember him, right? You
I
remember?
do.
You
I
remember
remember
Doc?
E3 toilet booth guy.
Yeah, E3 toilet booth guy. Currently is his development studio is shutting down.
Oh,
At months after it split from the guy himself.
okay.
Like 6 months after it split from the streamer, it is shutting down. They did not even get their game out. Midnight Society has
No.
been working on its debut game, a free-to-play first-person shooter, vertical extraction shooter set in a dark and violent future where the '80s never ended for the past 3 years, and yeah, no, it's just dead. Yep.
They don't seem to explain very much. It said it's announced a bunch of layoffs, and then it was due to multiple unexpected challenges. Um, and then yeah, it was just gone. Like, I don't know. It seemed like a free to play shooter with. I mean, Doctor Disrespect's name was behind it. He's got a following, but then you also had it says here Call of Duty veteran Robert Bowling and Halo designer Quinn Del Hoyo. So I saw just from like the marketing standpoint, I felt like there could have been something here to follow and see through, but I guess they just didn't have it together.
I think that they plan to incorporate, like, bring in NFTs to work on it, right? Like, that was
Well, there
part
was
of it.
that, yeah, which not great.
Did not help. Did not help their
No.
cause in any real
Mm-mm.
capacity. And then on top of that, they also, they had the whole controversy, which I'm guessing that got funding dropped. The whole Doctor Disrespect text and minors thing.
Yeah, that doesn't
So
help.
like
I
maybe
forget,
the
was this a
person who,
Kickstarter or no?
uh, no, I think that it was like I don't know if it was a Kickstarter.
If they got
Up,
funding from like companies, then yeah, they would have been like, nope,
yep.
done.
Uh, Add these 55 people to the list of 1 in 10 developers at GDC who said, hey, I was laid off in the past 12 months.
Yep.
Yep. Up
Rising
7%.
profits and more laid off developers. Good industry. Good.
Yep. You know, the people who make the product getting screwed at every turn.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's great.
You love to see it.
Mm, God.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. So there's that. Speaking of doing so well, so well. Not really. They're not really doing well at all. But
Yeah. Well, it depends on how you look at it.
yeah, true. You know what? You're right. Xbox, their revenue fell 7% in quarter two as hardware sales dropped 29%. A decline in fall from the gaming division the previous year. Microsoft completed its Activision Blizzard merger in October of 2023. In the process of taking ownership of franchises including Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, and Overwatch, they saw a significant rise in sales for the gaming division in Q2 of last year. Q2 of this year has not lived up to the promise.
Yeah. Let's see. They just recently finally merged with Activision, and so I guess this is the second quarter since that deal. So like they're comparing those numbers to try and get an idea of how they're
Yeah,
actually doing.
so last year, Q2 of last year was the first quarter of like we own them, and this year is the fifth quarter. You know, it's a year later.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right.
So now they're like, man, we lost 7% this year, and hardware sales went down another 29%.
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff, specifically regarding Game Pass, which is Game Pass set a new quarterly record for revenue and grew its PC subscriber base by over 30%.
Which, I mean, I think that's what they need to do. They need to grow Game Pass in other places, like the PC, which,
Well,
smart.
so yeah, we were talking about this. I learned recently that a vast majority of Game Pass money comes from console users.
That makes sense, especially because they got rid of Xbox Live Gold. So,
Oh,
So, like, to get online play on Xbox, you have to have one of the Game Pass subscriptions, even if it's only the one that gives you like 25 games.
right. Which all of a sudden the talk of like, man, y'all are losing money on making these consoles when you could just make this service. All of a sudden, that's a real problem. You now like that the Game Pass is how you're making money, and you're getting most of your Game Pass money through your consoles. Guess what?
Not good. Not good at all.
You now like until, but this is the thing. They grew its PC subscriber base by 30%. So the idea is if they can keep that rolling, maybe there's a way out eventually, and they start putting Game Pass on other devices that are not, any of this. Or if they put out this future Switch Steam Deck competitor, and that's where people start going to get their Game Pass, and that's like their console, quote unquote, like then they don't need to make a proper box ever again.
Yeah, the only reason they need to keep making boxes is because there's three reasons in my mind. One is the fact that it's they get 30% of every game sold there. So like oh, you bought this game on the Xbox, well, we get 30% of that. The other one is the other one that comes to mind is the fact that there's a lot of people in that ecosystem like who have been there since at least the 360, if not longer, and own games that they have carried over at this point. And I can't speak for most people, but if I was an Xbox guy, like I bought the original, the 360, the one, and I just have never left. I'm in that ecosystem. That's where my games are. And they were like, "Oh, that shit's over. Go buy a PlayStation and lose all your shit." I would never buy an Xbox product ever again. Period. I would be so pissed. So I think that's like the second reason. And the third reason is they do make some money on these boxes. It's not a huge amount, but
so okay. So first point. What was the first point?
God,
Oh, no, they make $30 or
Yeah,
30%.
30% per game sold.
So the problem here is what the position they're at in the console wars. They are significantly in third place and declining.
Yes.
Um, and given that the fact that they are now making more and more Xbox games just over on the PlayStation so they can make money over there, there's less
Mm.
incentive to get the Xbox for the first reason. And that will happen over time. So
Yes.
they do make money there, but I think less and less people are going to be buying games specifically for the Xbox. Second point, I do think that is a real reason. That's why I cherish my Xbox so long as it is the only device that I can play old skate games on.
Yeah.
Um,
That's if I want an easy
but
way to play a lot of video games, it is in fact my Xbox.
right, the one thing that could possibly make that not a problem for them is that Phil, despite the mistakes and missteps in running Xbox in this time, he has been good about backwards compatibility, and maybe that transitions to like, all right, how do we get this working elsewhere? Maybe we take our talents to make that happen.
That just seems the problem there is not like their games, it's like the third party stuff where it's like okay, EA, we want to make it so Alice Madness Returns will run on a PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this licensing deal done.
So first of all, they need to make as many like direct, least amount of steps moves possible in regards to some of those. But I'm just sitting here thinking like, okay, maybe some of this will take time, but if that saves us a lot of time, effort, and money, selling these boxes, it might be worth it. And then maybe they don't transition 100% of them. Like there are going to be some tragedies, and like 30% of the games that you bought are just never going to be accessed. We've tolerated worse.
We have, but I think that if you're that deep in the ecosystem, you're still going to be pissed. You're going to be like, I
Sure.
think about people I know, some of which we went to high school with, who are still in the ecosystem. That's where we went to play.
Yeah.
That's like they're still there, and like if they like, I don't know what they would do. I think they would honestly never buy a Microsoft anything ever again. You know,
I
and
mean, yeah, yeah,
you
but
know,
this goes to the final point that I think is the move. But what was your third point again? It was
that was, let's see. There was the ecosystem. There was the, oh yeah, they do make a profit on these boxes. Like it's not like huge, but you know,
do they make profits on off the S's?
yeah, totally. They do. It's
It
not
just seems
much.
really cheap. Yeah.
I
All
mean,
right.
yeah, $300, $250 went on sale.
Right.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that's not if they're
you
making
know,
a profit off them. I just feel like at this point, then this just points to the move for them is to do their own Steam Deck, and just you don't have to make killer, most amazing graphics and computer hardware. It's just like, here you can play your Xbox games on this thing.
if they could get everything that's released so far for the Series X and prior that is available onto
Mhm.
an Xbox handheld with
Mhm.
like Game Pass working, I'd be all
Yep.
about it. Because
Yep.
like I own a PC handheld, I own the Steam Deck OLED, and I've played around with the ROG Ally that my friends owned and showed me. Here's kind of my big problem with like the PC handheld space is it's a pain in the ass to set up and work. Um, in the case of the ROG Ally, the thing that does currently have Game Pass, it doesn't have like a handheld sleep mode that's easy to use and get into. So it's
Huh.
not like my Steam Deck where I press a like go in sleep mode, cool, I can go do what I want to do, or my Switch where tap the button twice, all right, cool, I can go set it down. It's like it has to go into Windows sleep mode, and then even then it loses your place in the game and it holds up double middle fingers.
Right.
So it's like it has no purpose. It's like say, and the Steam Deck has that too. If it's certain games connected to a launcher, if you put it into sleep mode, the game's like, "Whoa, you lost connection to the internet." please go F yourself. And
21st
it's
century gaming. It's good.
yeah, so it's like, well, that's actually something that I like realized when I was using my Switch recently, and I went back to Mario Wonder. I'm like, it's really cool that I can just put this thing in sleep mode and pick up the game exactly where it left off and not have to worry.
Yep.
So like the Xbox doing a handheld is really appealing to me. Like here
Yes.
we made a Series S, and you can use it anywhere. Like it's a decent. That's really appealing. Like the thought of buying another Xbox console past the Series X, for me personally, not gonna happen until that thing breaks. Like that's it. It's just not gonna happen. Like that thing is done in the ground. Like until that thing breaks. And the only reason I'd buy another one is to keep playing old games and Game Pass easily on the TV in the living room. Like that's what
Right.
it's for. Yeah. So I don't know, but a handheld, I'm like, ooh, all Game Pass games everywhere.
Yeah.
That's tempting.
Yeah.
That's appealing.
So
Especially if that rumor from last year is true, where they're trying to get the Steam store on Xbox. So it's like, ooh, if we can get the Valve Kool-Aid running on this thing.
Well, okay, so then what's the choice between the Xbox handheld and the Steam Deck?
It's you can easily run Game Pass without hoops and have console-like features versus the Steam Deck. Neither of those things. Well, Steam Deck's like kind of half and half on the console-like features. It's like sort of there, and then it doesn't really have Game Pass. Like you can do Game Pass streaming, or you can dual boot Windows, and like it's a kind of a pain in the ass.
I just wonder what Valve's approach will be if they allow Steam on the Xbox handheld. Then it's like, that's awesome. Like I'm gonna play a bunch of Steam games on that, but and then they'll get some money from that. But beyond that, it's like, okay, well then, what incentive do I have to buy the Valve?
Valve product.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, most of Valve's decisions go back into you are buying games on Steam.
which for me, it's like, that is happening, my friend.
So
that is going on regardless.
That is a big part, but now we can get the Xbox people buying games on Steam.
Right. That's right.
So that's the end result of that.
One more little bit I saw in here that I was like, huh? Quote, we also continued to see strong momentum for Xbox cloud gaming with a record 140 million hours streamed this quarter. So, I did the math. Divided I assume a quarter, 3 months, and it's not some weird business version of months.
You are right. It is a quarter. You are correct.
Okay, so
it's a quarter.
Divided it by 3. Divided each month into 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
If this would mean 500,000 people are streaming Xbox cloud gaming 3 hours every day. So,
out of 30 million users.
Out of 500,000 users. 500,000 users.
No, I'm saying the total Game Pass users. Like so 500,000 out of 30 million.
30 million?
Last I checked, I don't know, they could be up.
I would love to have access to those numbers so I could, like, if you've spent, over 3 hours or more in a week playing cloud gaming, how many players is that? I would love to know those numbers.
It's shocking to me the amount of people who use cloud in any capacity because it's just trash. It's so bad.
Well, so I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, it has to be turn-based or something that does not require, like, reacting to damage or whatever. Not playing sports, not doing any of that. It has to be so turn-based, and then it's like, okay, I have to be at a Wi-Fi. I cannot. I tried to do this like out, just using the signal, and you better have a good signal all the way from point A to point B, man, or else not only will it stutter, it will disconnect and it will forget all the progress you had. So it's like you are on Wi-Fi.
And even on Wi-Fi, it has to be fairly good Wi-Fi, because I remember trying to use it in the hospital. Granted, this was like 2 years ago. And, like, the hospital Wi-Fi wasn't bad. Like, I was playing, like, World of Warcraft and whatnot in the hospital on my laptop. And I was like, this sucks. This is so... And I was playing Like a Dragon. It's not like I was playing a game that was like, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I was playing, like, a turn-based game. I'm like, there's artifacting and lag, and the stream will randomly F up, and it's just like, okay. So, So I don't know. I think that
I don't know. I would love to see what are the most played games.
Yes, I would love to see that. Because I cannot picture someone playing like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black on the Wi-Fi.
No, man, are you kidding me?
I'm
gonna pull up the Game Pass, the Xbox app.
The Xbox app,
and see what we got. Oh, Exoprimal. Let's see here. Forza Horizon 5. I'm not playing this, Cloud.
Well, yeah. If you look up the most popular games on PC or otherwise that are like cloud-based, like it's like it is definitely like it has to be totally different. I bet you're doing like Minecraft in cloud. I bet you're doing Minecraft in cloud.
Yeah. Don't they have like a Minecraft mobile?
Yeah, but like if you have your account on Xbox or in the Microsoft system, maybe they have something for you there.
Oh, here we go. Okay, explain this to me. Most popular on cloud, Rainbow Six Siege. Number 1.
Bro, what the fuck?
Number 2, Forza Horizon 5.
Is this
Number
just like
3,
people...
MLB The Show 24, where you have to pitch and hit. Like,
is this just like, okay, so this like people who are just used to the lag because they can't afford like an Xbox or something similar?
Yeah, it could be where what I was doing when we were first looking at it, where I'm on my fiber internet, I'm gonna pull it up, and there's like a fraction of a second, but otherwise, like I can adjust.
Yeah, because
Indiana Jones number 4. Yep.
Okay, Indiana Jones you could kind of play on cloud. Like
number
it's not
7,
great.
Halo Infinite.
That's fucking wild to me, playing that game on cloud. Like, yep. I'm looking at the list you are, and I'm like, okay, Cabela, Pal World, sure, but then I'm just like, are you really playing some of these games there? Really?
Yeah. I would love to see what their connection and what it feels like.
It's like, dude, I'm on gigabit wired, and it was bad. Yeah. I cannot imagine like playing this on like anything less than that. Like it's
I don't know.
That's insane. It's insane, dude. Like
number 9, Skate 3. I'm gonna have to try this after the show and see how it feels on Wi-Fi.
All right. Well, we do have another story related to Microsoft.
Okay.
That's, I'm sure, only good news. Hey, Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PS5 this spring. The port is being handled by Panic Button in partnership with Turn 10 and Playground Games, and will contain all the content available in the Xbox and PC versions of the game, and will have all the previously released car packs available for purchase, as well as the 2 expansions. Panic Button is known for the impossible Switch ports of games like Doom, Doom Eternal, and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, as well as the PS5 port of... yeah. And then a new free update is called Horizon Realms, is coming to all platforms. It'll give players to enjoy a chance of curated collections of the community's favorite released evolving worlds. That's a great game.
Forza Horizon's going to get out there to more people. Like the Forza Horizon games are impressive.
The Horizon 5 is a great game. I think that this is kind of feels like them just throwing in the towel. It just says like
Xbox.
Yeah, Forza is like one of their big 3, right? Like their big 3 that's only on them. This just kind of feels like the start of them throwing in the towel for good. We're calling it a day.
Yep.
It's a great game. I really enjoyed Horizon 5. Bro, like
Well, in that last news story, they were like, "We are now the biggest and most successful publisher. We're way ahead of EA." It's like, well, yeah,
bro, no shit.
yeah. You're Microsoft. You've been putting out the Xbox. You got Halo. You got uh, okay. You seem to be going in that direction, and if that's the direction you want to go in, good for you. But when you're talking like this while you still have a console out, it's just like,
Yeah, it
hmm.
feels like it kind of reminds me of Bernie Stoller talking a bunch of shit about the Sega Saturn, like a year and a half before the Dreamcast is out, and everyone just stops buying Sega Saturns. Like, we know it's losing. You don't need to shoot it in the head this early.
I
Um,
mean, this started with them. I mean, it didn't start, but like a big part of this push was themselves with their marketing campaign. This is an Xbox because y'all aren't getting the console, so here it is and elsewhere.
yeah, and they need to sell these games to make money. I get it. I
Hmm.
understand.
Hmm.
It's just, it feels so shit. It's
It's one
just,
of those things where this is coming from the our perspective is coming from our like teenage selves that was
yeah,
watching the old legacy games media and how the console wars actually mattered. And at this point, it's like Microsoft is looking for the best way to make the most money. And it is very clear that continuing to go with the traditional box is not their way forward. So they're going to find a way to succeed with this path. But we've been conditioned from, a couple decades prior. It's like it's about the console wars. It's about Sony versus Xbox and Nintendo to a degree until the Wii came out and it was like, well.
well, and I think that this is Microsoft doing the Wii thing, just not as skillfully. I think it's
I
them.
mean, this is Nintendo did the Wii thing, and it was like, but like what they did is like they found a way to carve their niche within the console space,
Yeah,
and which forced it so that Sony and Xbox were directly fighting each other, knowing that they weren't going to compete with Nintendo with their specific thing. Xbox can't do that on the software side. Um, so they're trying it with their business model.
and I think that, like, I love the Game Pass business model still. Like, I
Yeah.
loved paying the like 200. I think it's 240 a year now. To play Call of Duty and Indiana Jones, and now I'm playing Eternal Strands and Ninja Gaiden Black. Like, that right there is, you know, worth the sub. And then maybe playing Avowed, and then maybe playing South of Midnight, and then maybe playing Doom. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, like these games are, yeah, these games are great, and they're, there was a, I feel like there was a lot of reason to buy an Xbox for the first year, and like there's plenty to buy now, but it's like, well, cool, bro, you're bringing this shit to PlayStation now. You're bringing this shit to the PC day one, which, like, that's kind of a different audience, I admit, but it's still just like feels kind of like GG. It's over.
Uh, so in a way, it's GG for. And we declared this last year. It was the end of the console war. It's just not official yet. Um,
Yeah, there's still
Xbox
so
is kind of giving in on the console war
there's still
aspect, but they're
there's
still
still
doing business.
there's still some Japanese soldiers out on islands, fighting. The war never ended
Yeah,
for them.
they're going to be going for a while. I think it's gonna be a couple years.
I'm so curious what the hell their next console, like normal console, is going to be.
Well, that's the thing. I think the move is to just go full on Switch, Steam
Okay,
Deck.
all right. Like,
And then you can plug it in and it can function as a console if that's how you want to use it.
you know, I just think that, like, if they do that when PS6 rolls around, it's like the Xbox's graphic. It's the same dumb argument with the Switch, where it's like the graphics are worse. It's like, yeah, dude, it's a handheld. No
Well,
shit.
that's the thing. No, Xbox's thing has been like, we are the most powerful box, and like, guess what? No one gives a shit.
Yeah, and
So there's no reason for them to chase that.
and I want to be real. The people who give a shit are probably playing on PC anyway. Most of them.
Despite the rising prices, we keep coming back for more punishment.
Yeah, let me.
So
Yeah, so yeah, I'm finally at the point where I'm like, this next computer is gonna be the last one for a pretty good while, unless some new crazy tech comes out.
Right.
I can't justify these insane costs anymore.
No.
But that does bring us to our next story.
Yes.
Hey, so guess what? Is the 5090 and 5080 came out today, and they sold out instantly. Yep. Yep.
What year is it?
2020, apparently. Micro Center had lines and buyers camping out for over 24 hours. In some cases, stock levels are low, and of course, people went on eBay almost immediately, as you can imagine.
Yep.
Third-party manufacturers are marking up their MSRP prices of the RTX 5090 because they're doing custom things, overclocking and whatnot. One of them is up to $2,800.
Cool.
So yep, and then couple comments from this on the NVIDIA forum. I refreshed every second since 2 p.m. and not once did it say available to buy. Other users over on Reddit are posting memes, another launch, another failure. A lot of people are saying paper launch is true. That's a big comment that's being flown around the last couple NVIDIA launches. Yeah, it's out, but you can't get one.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's basically as far as
do
being.
this again.
Yep, and we will for all of time with these damn graphics cards. It feels like I'm actually super stoked in regards to the fact that I've heard Nintendo be like 20 million first year, because it means they're making 20 million the first year, and I'm like, so it should be easy to get one.
You would hope. You would think.
So yeah, apparently these things gave NVIDIA only has so much time in chip foundries at TSMC, TSMC, hard to say. NVIDIA's Blackwell GeForce cards are made of the same 4nm node as the low-yield B100s and B200s. NVIDIA went to hurry and fix this issue, and hey, guess what? Lower stock, same thing here. As for their performance, hey, guess what? The 5090 is the fastest card on the market by a wide margin.
Nice.
Shocker. I know.
Wonderful.
The $2,000 graphics card is fast. Shocking.
Great. Yeah.
The 5080 is kind of disappointing, though.
Oh, really?
The 5080 is only about 11% faster than the 4080 Super for the same price.
Okay. All right.
And
yeah.
and unlike previous generations, it's not faster than the 4090.
Wow.
So
wow.
Yeah, the big thing with that, I will say, is the problem is like, oh, we'll just go buy a 4090. Then you can't. They stopped doing production of them towards the end of last year, and they're being scalped also. So you have the new graphics card being scalped and the 4-year-old graphics card being scalped. I love it. I love it so much.
Good. It's good. It's great. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna ride this computer into the ground.
I'm building one in December, and the one nice thing I can say about this is, because this launch is underwhelming, it should be really easy to get a graphics card come December.
Right.
That's like that's the nicest thing I can say about this. It's like, it's 11 months from now. It's like, that should be an easy time to acquire one.
We will see.
Yeah, could be another COVID situation. We'll find out.
Who knows what's gonna be? I can't even begin to tell you what things are gonna be like in 11 months.
Right? You are right.
Ugh.
Oh.
I wish the best of luck for you. That's what I will say about your graphics card search.
All right. Before we get into the next news story, hey, if you like what we're doing here, like, subscribe, all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
all that
You know,
stuff.
we just require your attention and validation. We don't require your money. Uh,
Your likes feed us.
you know, notice me, senpai.
If you don't hit the like button, we die. It's how it works.
Yep. If you don't hit the like and sub and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, we die. And you should write positive reviews of us in both of those places, or else we die.
Those help.
Yep.
Those are like likes of the podcast world.
Exactly. Alright, so last news story is the Video Game History Foundation's digital library is now publicly available in early access. The library includes promotional material of more than 1,500 out-of-print magazines.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, guidebooks.
Taking a look at any of these?
Not yet. I just heard about this particular being finally available today. Some notable ones that they have talked about are guidebooks and ephemera from video game events, including the first 12 years of E3. So that'd be like 95 to 2007. An interconnectional collection of From Software promotion materials, including a blessing from Software to donate them to the library. 100 CD-ROMs of artwork and press releases from GamePro. 100 hours of footage of the making of Myst. The Mark Flipman papers, a treasure trove of documents kept by Flipman from his time working on Konami, Acclaim, Atari, and others.
Okay.
Saying, quote, after collecting, cataloging, and digitizing video game history materials, the Video Game History Foundation is finally opening the virtual doors to its library wherever you are, the Foundation said in a statement last week. The VGHF was set up in 2017 by game preservationist and historian Frank Cafaldi. Since then, it's building an extensive collection of video game-related materials with the aim of being cataloged, digitized, and preserve the history of video games. This non-profit foundation relies on donations to build its archives. Thanks to your support, we've built a powerful tool for video game history research. We can't wait for you to get your first look at what we've been cooking up. This is awesome. I love it.
Yes.
I love this. I cannot wait to dive in and start looking through stuff. Video games are in a very fortunate position of, like, hey, they're not quite where movies were, where movies, like, a ton of movies, like an absurd amount made before, like, the 40s are just gone forever. They're just gone forever. Video games are not in that situation because, thankfully, hoarders got to them early and started to understand their value early. Like, yes, there's going to be issues of magazines that are gone forever and games that are gone forever. But I think that in this particular case, most of the important stuff is still there, Like, right. and I think that doing this for any art form is super important. It's super, super important. Like, it's video games are an art, and as such, this is, like, key, man. It's key.
It's something that in many cases still is treated like a product to be used up and then scrapped. There's a lot of people in the business end that do not care about anything beyond that, and they treat it as such.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because, like, you look up, there are so many cool games that just get lost to history forever, or, like, are barely accessible. I kind of have to give Microsoft some props in the way they handled backwards compatibility. Yes. I think that that's awesome. I think that I think that Nintendo, like, they understand that their past is important and they keep track of it, but they, like, don't always have it available to you. And that's unfortunate. And then Sony, it's just so apparent they don't give a shit about anything made before the PS4. They do not care. Sony has two eras of PlayStation: pre PS4 and after.
Yeah,
and they
the PS3. The way they designed the PS3 and did not think about game preservation or backwards compatibility or anything fucked them so bad.
They thought, oh, people are gonna. Well, they sort of did, because they were like, oh, well, we'll just, we'll have the PS2 chip in it, and you'll be able to play PS1, PS2 games.
Right, when they started, yes.
Yeah, but then, like, they had to take it out because of all the other dumbass decisions they made with that hardware, and, well, there you go. And then I think along with that, they also kind of went to a weird place where, you look at most of their marketing, and it's like, the PS4 and 5 are so great. What about the 1, 2, and the 3? The PS4 and 5 are so great. Are you going to make any franchise besides God of War and Gran Turismo that were made before the PS4? The PS4 is really cool. Like, I think Astrobot is, like, the one exception I can think of. Like, it was made during the PS4 era, but it, like, acknowledges a lot of that history versus like, you look at that 30th anniversary thing they did, and it's just like, this feels really half-hearted compared to a lot of these. Like, I think the system thing was cool, and that was a nice warm fuzzy touch, and Astrobot coincidentally came out in this time period, but I don't know, it feels weird.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm flipping through the archive right now, and there's some good stuff. If you want to see some good ass 90s advertisements and early 2000s magazine advertisements, go check out the E3 exhibit book that was handed out to people that came in the late 90s and early 2000s. Just dozens of pages filled with ads for shit that's just like, damn, from that time.
Well, yeah, especially because, like, back then E3 was like CES, but for video games. It was like, here, businessmen, come and figure out what you're buying for your stores for the next year. Like, it wasn't what it was like in the 2010s, where it was like, here, media types, come and show all the games off for us. Like, it back then, like, basically all the way until, like, I'd say around 04 is when stuff started to kind of shift a little bit, where it was very much like, yo, dog, hey, businessman from Walmart, Target, KB Toys, etc., come to our press conference to see the hot shit that you should be ordering a bunch of this year, so that way you have shelf space. That was what it was for. Like, that was the purpose.
Right.
And just similar now, when you go to CES, it's like, here's this concept we're working on, and by the way, here's like, like, maybe you should order this TV because it's gonna sell well. Shit like that. Like, it has no, so that's kind of cool to see. Is like, because I think that some of the history of the business side of this stuff is lost. That's actually a big part of why I really liked that Sega versus Nintendo book. I highly recommend that to everyone who is even a little bit interested in video game history. Just because you really get to see the mindset of inside of these companies.
Yeah.
It's very the business end of this is every bit as interesting as the design of the games themselves sometimes, because video games are a wild fucking industry.
It's yes,
especially back then when it was like just Wild West.
Another fun little thing that's just nice to peek in and take a look at. The fact that it exists and we have access to it is really cool. Is the Journal of Computer Game Design, which had its first issue in June/July of 1987. And
Lordy.
it is just straight up designers and programmers talking, like straight up, like in some cases typing code, and like, here's how I handle AI for this fucking 80s console, and here is hey, here's a thought piece on women playing video games and how to consider, video games for women. It's like, yep, here we are in 87 doing this. Cool.
The
It's
more
really
things
cool.
change, the more they stay the
More
same.
things stay the same,
Yep.
It's always been. Just didn't
Oh,
have weirdos online yet.
didn't have weirdos online being like, a girl playing video games.
Ah!
Oh.
Yeah. So there's some really cool stuff in here. I'm going to be flipping through this a bunch, especially specifically for the video game magazines. They have a ton of these.
Yeah, I want to dig through those. Do they have GamePro? Do you know what else they have?
Let's see. I'll go through here. 3DO Club News. You want to learn about 3DO?
Oh, yes, of course I do.
Casual Connect, Computer Game Review, Computer Game Strategy Plus, Digital Diner. Wow. EG Electronic Games / Computer Entertainment, EGM, Electronic Gaming
EGM.
Retail News,
Yeah, they got fucking
Future
EGM.
Play, Game Developer, that's a good one. Oh man, Game Informer from 91 to 2024, all of Game Informer's on there. You got Game Fan, Game Pro, Girl Gamer lasted for 3 years. Mega, which was from 92 to 95. Multimedia World. New Earth. This is just assorted news and media magazines. Next Generation / Next Gen. Ooh, the official Sega Dreamcast magazine for all your Sega Dreamcast news.
Yeah, the best console, of course.
Yes, of course. Official US PlayStation magazine, official Xbox magazine, PC Gamer, still going to this day. Wait, what? Are they just archiving those magazines as they come out?
I guess so, right? Like that's
weird. PC Game / Electronic Entertainment, PlayStation the official magazine, PS Max, which fall and winter 1999, whatever that is, did not last long. PSM, which looks like another PlayStation magazine, just PlayStation. Okay, yeah, fine. SOE World's the official magazine, Superplay, The Cursor, Game Developer Life, the Journal of Computer Game Design, which again, that one's the fun one because it's just like, here's just a pamphlet with just text, like someone typed this in a computer terminal and sent it out there.
Go into the world, my son.
They have the last two are The Logical Gamer and Video Gaming and Computer Gaming Illustrated. These take place between 1982 and 1984.
All right.
That's wild. I'm going to be looking at these.
I just found an issue of EGM that I must have read 1,000,000 times when it came out, and it was about the launch of the PSP and going over like the PSP.
Ooh, yeah. See, some of that nostalgia. That's good
there
stuff.
You go, just simmer in it. I think stuff like this is important, and I think that another one of these is like there's a current magazine that's out there that I have bought a couple issues of, and I'm very much like, I should buy a subscription to this. It is Retro Gamer Magazine.
Yeah.
Like they keep hitting these topics, and I'm like, ooh, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's it's like, if I buy a full year, it's it's only $4.16 an issue. If I do it digitally, if I do a print, which is kind of what I'd prefer, it'd be $8.75 an issue. So,
right. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not horrible.
It's something to keep in your bathroom, if nothing else.
Yeah, you want to learn about the history of video games while pooping. That's the good way to do it.
I do. Oh, okay. So last thing here, I just found something really tragic. Video Gaming and Computer Gaming Illustrated went for 14 issues only. And
That is
part of the reason
something.
why is Video Gaming Illustrated #3, exclusive. E.T. comes home to video gaming. Atari's Oscar-winning ally. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll go great.
Oh,
Good luck.
buddy. So,
Oh, this is cool. And then
yeah.
retro gamer. I need to, as soon as I find a concrete place to live, I'm gonna probably start a subscription to that.
Oh yeah.
I miss the magazine. The video game magazine was a fun little thing.
Yeah, also, I forgot that this issue totally had a thing about the next generation of video games. Speculating on PS3. So, this is before even E305, so we didn't even know what the 360 was yet.
Okay.
And, like, you have interviews of this thing being like, next-gen battle plan, stay one step ahead. One thing we like to talk about is blurring the lines between single-player and multiplayer gaming. Microsoft Studios general manager. Nintendo's next-gen battle plan, innovate and kick ass. Look at what we did at E3 last year with the DS. We let people see it, touch it, get a strong reaction to it. That's what we're looking to do with the Revolution. And then, is Sony on here? Sony, overwhelming force. And then, let me see if there's a quote. Remember, we're never first to market. Remember Saturn, remember Dreamcast. That was supposed to be the next generation online console, and we saw what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is a cool thing. You guys should go look into this, and I think it's very important for people to understand the history of video games that are into the hobby. I think it is very important to understand where the industry is going based on its past. You know, it is a good thing.
And I think it's if you're into video games like we are, you're watching or listening to a podcast that is about the video games and the video game industry. I think this is just fun. I think peeking into the past to see what our equivalents were doing 30, 40 years ago, I think is super interesting.
Even 20 years ago, God, that feels weird to say.
I know.
The PSP turns 20 in 2 months in the United States. So
it's fun going back to stuff that you were reading as a kid and you were just like, whoa, and now you're coming back as an adult. And for us, we've been, covering video games online publicly for a little while now. Going back to look at these magazines and how they're written and put together is super fascinating.
It's fascinating. It's like, oh, that's so charming. That's
yeah.
Before the fucking hatred seeped into every part. Before the fucking seething anger infected this industry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right, well, hey, a couple things here before we round it off is, hey, you should follow us on socials and on, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Blue Sky, we're on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this. Spotify if you want the full version. Apple Podcast if you want the full version. Check us out, get the word out. Yeah, we love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hey, remember, tomorrow is Friday, so that's a late show. So make sure that you get out there with us and come check out the late show. It's going to be at 9 p.m., and then if you can't do the late show, hey, it'll be on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts the very next day. We love you guys, and you have a wonderful, wonderful time.
Enjoy video games.
Enjoy them. Go play some cool shit.